Hopefully everybody's having a great Sunday. It's your boy Ango, and today we're covering 3 very big pro wrestling news stories. As always, I'm going to put the timestamps in the description down below. I want to kick things off with Shayna Baszler and Ronda Rousey because the dirt sheets have been running around with the story that Shayna and Ronda Rousey essentially demanded that the WWE give them a tag team title reign. And, it's actually not true, according to Shayna Baszler, when responding to a tweet that was showing a screenshot of a write-up from Fightful. Basically, Shayna Baszler responded to the tweet saying, "Twisting my words, the demand was to team together. That's it, full stop." Now, this basically was an aggregated story that happened with Cheap Heat, where basically she was talking about, wanting to team with Ronda Rousey. And then essentially what happened was WWE actually made that happen. Not only did they make it happen, but it was at the same time where Liv Morgan was injured, and because of her injury, WWE decided to put the tag titles on Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler. And this is a story that's been running on and on social media, that they've basically demanded this change. Shayna Baszler says it's not true. And, obviously a lot of people were complaining about this on social media because with the original reports and stuff, I think a lot of people were taking a look at the articles that were being aggregated, and then it started to piss people off because we saw Sasha Banks and Naomi walk away from the company. And obviously a lot of people were pissed off about that, trying to compare the two scenarios. Now, with that being said, if you look at WWE and what they've had to do with the women's tag title belts, honestly, it does make sense, right? Liv Morgan was hurt. She couldn't actually defend her title. Raquel Rodriguez brings in Shotzi instead. They lose the titles. It's all pretty logical. Now, the real question is, what will WWE do with the women's tag titles? Because it hasn't been booked perfectly, but if you look at what WWE has done, at least in the last 2 months or so, there has been a little bit of a focus on the women's tag titles, probably a bigger focus than it's ever had before. So now, obviously, Shayna and Ronda Rousey were getting a lot of hate on social media. None of it was justified whatsoever, especially because it's all coming from articles twisting and twisting words and things like that. So at the end of the day, Shayna and Ronda, according to Shayna Baszler, that's not what happened, and that's it. Hopefully the women's tag titles continue to be a focus. Obviously, it's never really taken off, but with Raquel and obviously with Liv Morgan, we saw them do a little bit more with it, and it continues to be on TV. So hopefully they do something there. And then also just want to kind of throw this out there: Alba Fire and Isla Dawn are currently holding the NXT Women Tag Title belts, but they're on SmackDown. There hasn't really been much talk about what's going to happen there. Just kind of want to throw that out there. Guys, Seth Rollins, big-time dream match. I don't know what the hell is happening here. Social media could be fun at times, though, because Seth Rollins and Will Ospreay going back and forth on Twitter. Essentially, this all happened because Chris Van Vliet posted his interview with Will Ospreay. In the clip, Will Ospreay was talking about Seth Rollins and how over he has become, basically giving praise to Seth Rollins. Long story short, if you guys don't remember, they did have a little bit back and forth on social media a long time ago, and it kind of got heated for a minute. What was cool was Will Ospreay was responding to the clip that Chris Van Vliet posted, and he said, "The O2 Arena is 20 minutes from my house, with the eye emoji. If you guys didn't know, Money in the Bank is taking place at the O2 Arena in the UK. This actually prompted Seth Rollins to respond to the tweet by simply responding and saying the word bruv, which happens to also be a new shirt for Will Ospreay. And then, of course, this has got a lot of people talking. Will Ospreay also responded to that tweet as well. Here's the thing with Will Ospreay responding to the tweet. It's just getting a lot of people excited because he responded by saying, "What are you saying, champ?" And look, I love the idea of Will Ospreay versus Seth Rollins. And I think this would be an incredibly awesome matchup, especially considering that they did go back and forth a while ago on Twitter, right? It generated a huge conversation on social media, and when you look at both of the guys' styles and the way that both of the guys work, I think they could do something really magical in the ring. The likelihood of this ever happening, though, just to be quite honest, I think it's very slim. Will Ospreay has been pretty open and honest about the fact that he wants to stay in the UK. He doesn't want to move to America. And obviously with him working New Japan and stuff like that, he's obviously able to work AEW from time to time. So the likelihood really isn't Seth Rollins coming to AEW, right? He's the World Heavyweight Champion. Becky Lynch is also on WWE television. it doesn't seem like Seth actually has a reason to leave WWE, nor does it even seem like it's possible at this stage of the game. Now, obviously, with wrestling, you never say never. Anything could literally happen. You never know when contracts and money and things are brought up. But it does make me wonder what this match would look like, because from an in-ring perspective, I think it would be incredible. But I think a lot of people are also sleeping on Will Ospreay as a storyteller. And if you ever look at him, post-match clips, in New Japan, this guy is great at talking. And just kind of want to throw this out there because some people did miss it. The last time Ospreay fought against Kenny Omega, Will Ospreay went ham on the mic at the press conference leading to the event, and that generated a massive outpour of love from the wrestling fans, because Will Ospreay just really, it seemed like he spoke from the heart. He was aggressive, and it made for some really entertaining clips. So yeah, I do think if Will Ospreay and Seth Rollins were to come together, it would be magical. I feel like this would be a great dream match to go down one day, but I don't think it is likely, but I would like to see it. And also, I do want to point this out, too, because I love everything about Seth Rollins' character right now. Seth Rollins has done a phenomenal job already getting started as World Heavyweight Champion. He feels important. So if Will Ospreay ever did make his way into WWE, and it's at a time where Seth Rollins is holding the belt, I do feel like it would be a money feud. Now, with that being said, we got to talk about this massive change happening. Guys, I absolutely love this news. I've been advocating for something like this for a pretty long time, and now it is time to discuss. During the Ring of Honor tapings today, Tony Khan came out and introduced the crowd to the new ROH Board of Directors. One of them being Stokely Hathaway, and the second one being Jerry Lynn. And Tony Khan has confirmed that they will have matchmaking and ruling authority that can only be overruled by Tony Khan. And this is obviously a big deal because they've been teasing a little bit of Stokely becoming some sort of authority figure. And I think ROH is good, but I don't want to see it become like dark, right? So in this sense, Stokely Hathaway and Jerry Lynn, I feel like they're going to be very similar to what Adam Pearce is on WWE television, right? It's not going to be overbearing. It's not going to be this huge thing where like they're constantly taking TV time and constantly involved in storylines. But I think they will be there on screen to help tie up loose ends. And then also, too, we know that Tony Khan does need to lessen the work for himself. So if this means that in the real world, right, not just television, but in the real world behind the scenes, if this means that Tony Khan is giving up some of that workload to someone else, I 100% support this. The reason why it's a big deal, though, is because Stokely Hathaway is currently part of AEW television as well. So we'll have to see what they do in regards to that. And then keep in mind, obviously, AEW Collision is expected to have its own creative team and stuff. So a lot of great things happening here. I think this is the right move. I feel like Tony Khan has definitely needed to bring people on board to like help him out. And he has a couple people helping him out. But you don't want to see Tony Khan so involved with ROH that AEW takes a hit. And you don't want to see ROH people being so involved with AEW where that also takes a hit, right? So it's all about consistency. It's all about forming the right stories and having the right group of people to get every show in a good creative direction. What do you guys think? Let me know down below.